Good evening, everybody. Sorry, we were running just a little bit late today. I had to help out some people because of the snow that's going on right now. But let's get right to it. Chris, since I've been having a shitty weekend again because of the weather and shit, Chris is the only one to go see Wolf of Wall Street, and apparently that was a good thing.
You would definitely not have enjoyed this movie. I didn't particularly enjoy it, but just seeing it, I could pinpoint all the things. I was like, oh, Randy would have hated this. He'd have hated this. Oh my god, it's still going. He'd be going fucking mad right now. I mean, there was a point I was ready to leave the theater. And it wasn't even because the movie was just like, oh, that was a horrible thing, or like, God, I'm so bored. It was just like, I have things I have to do today. What time is it? It is an extraordinarily long movie. For those of you who have not heard of it, it is... Go ahead.
No, go ahead and do the what's it called? And then I'll ask my question.
It's The Wolf of Wall Street. It's based off of the book, which is the true story of Jordan Belfort, who was a stockbroker in Wall Street, who started up a company. I think it was like Statham Oakfield or something like that. It was rather pretentious. Stratton Oakmont was the name. He started up Stratton Oakmont, which was a company that was selling basically penny stocks to people using aggressive phone tactics and like this charismatic sort of attitude of always get a deal and things like that. It had this big machismo sort of atmosphere. And the movie is a 3-hour-long epic on his life, starting from his very first job in the stockbroking industry to when he starts up Stratton Oakfield, all the way up until basically the closure of his story, which is where the real Jordan Belfort basically is today. It is a long movie.
Okay.
What was your question?
My question is did every scene in this movie, was it necessary?
No. There's a lot you can cut out from this. Here's the thing. This is a rated R movie, and it was desperate to get that R because there is a fuck ton of swearing and nudity in this film. Like, a plethora of it. Now, there's this actress. I had not seen her before. I thought it was Emma Stone for a little bit. It's not. She just kind of looks like her. Her name is Margaret Robbie. She plays Naomi, who is Jordan's second wife in the film. You get to see her tits at one point. Or at least her face photoshopped onto a body that has really good tits. But to contrast that, you do also get to see Leonardo DiCaprio's ass and presumably Jonah Hill's penis, though it's probably a fake. But you still get to see Jonah Hill jerking off at one point.
Okay, so I'm not going to watch this movie. I don't think Jonah Hill's dick and seeing Leonardo DiCaprio's ass is worth...
I mean, there's a lot more tits in this movie.
Yeah, I know, but are they quality moves, or are they worth it for seeing dong and ass?
There's back and forth on it. There's some that are pretty good, and then there's others that are just like, ugh, I could have gone without.
Are they fake? If they're fake, then I'm passing.
There's a lot of fake ones in there.
Yeah, then fuck that.
Yeah. But there's a plethora of swearing, a plethora of just scenes of gratuitous sort of machismo attitude with these guys. That's sort of the big thing is Leonardo DiCaprio's character, Jordan Belfort, has this very big sort of style to him, wears these Armani suits, drives a Jaguar, comes in, does these big epic sales speeches. He has a stage set up on the stockroom floor where everyone's doing the calls, where you can go up and get on a microphone. He basically just does this speaking. In fact, it's what he eventually ends up doing at the end of his career is he gets into not motivational speaking, but sort of like what would you call it? I guess motivational speaking. He basically teaches people how to become better at salesmanship, and it's got this attitude toward it. If you've seen the trailer, you're already going to kind of know what I'm talking about. There's a scene, I think the movie actually opens up with it, where they are taking midgets. They're strapping Velcro to them, and they're tossing them at a giant felt dartboard to see who can get the closest to a bullseye, because that person gets $25,000. It's just the environment that this company holds itself in. It's a matter of, you got to get the money from this person, and these are penny stocks they're selling. So they're selling it mostly to people who are kind of like just desperate to kind of make money, kind of like blue collar guys, middle America sort of people who don't have a lot of money because, rich people aren't going to fucking do anything about penny stocks. They don't give a fuck about that. Yeah. So they're selling it to those people, and then they'll contrast it by just showing the guys on the other end are basically just pantomiming fucking the person. They're just, constantly flipping off or saying fuck you, mouthing it. And very, like these guys are so fucking cool, high-fiving each other, how awesome they are, while they basically rob these people and ruin their lives.
Yeah.
That's one of the problems with this movie, is that everyone's extremely dislikable. There's not really anyone you want to root for in this movie. Leonardo DiCaprio's character, he may be entertaining, he may be very charismatic, but you can tell from the very beginning, he's quick to jump into this idea of, I can make money doing the most heinous shit, and I'll sustain myself almost exclusively off of drugs, booze, and hookers.
Now, you said there's nobody to root for. Is this one of those movies that, like, it's you watch their fall from grace, like the cops come after them and shit like that? Can you at least root for the good guys in this?
Yes, when that happens. The first 2.5 hours, though, is him being successful in
God damn it.
The fucking FBI agent that's going to take him down shows up about, like, maybe 40 to an hour into the movie.
The whole movie should just be bouncing back and forth.
The movie is him still being successful, still being successful, still being successful, and then they're like, all right, well, we still got another half hour left, so now we're going to show him falling from grace.
The whole movie should be like a two-sided movie. You see the FBI's work, and then you see their work. You see like the contrast of both sides.
The FBI
that would be a good movie, though.
You see a little bit of them, and you get kind of a very pivotal scene where the two of them interact. Mm-hmm. But outside of that, there's not really a focus placed on them, because the focus is on watching this guy and the decisions he makes. And it's not really like a rise, because he hits his peak kind of early, and then he kind of floats there, and he just kind of slowly dips more and more down. But he still is like, $30 million every, couple months. So you're kind of like, even though these are little dips, it's still, he's making, he's making me losing a couple $1 million per dip. You're like, this guy's probably still pretty off. So, but no, the fact that he is a alcoholic and a drug addict plays a huge part in the film. There's a lot of moments focusing on the fact that he takes Quaaludes. They just called them ludes in the movie. I guess that was the term at the time. They go into like, there's actually one point where they explain in detail what Quaaludes are. It was basically something that they used to prescribe to housewives to help them sleep. Basically, if you can endure the first 15 minutes of drowsiness, then it kind of kicks in, becomes a real drug, and you just get like a huge high off it. And they showcase in this scene where Jonah Hill's kind of sitting there, everyone else is partying, he's about to fall asleep, and then the Quaalude, he gets past the silence of it, or the drowsiness, and it's a slow motion scene of him running up slowly on Leonardo DiCaprio. It's like a 3-minute long scene of just slow motion of him running up on Leonardo DiCaprio and grabbing him around the shoulder so he can start bragging about some idea he just had. Ton of drug use in this. Ton of just like how you were just the worst fucking human being, Leonardo DiCaprio. All the shit he pulls. The thing is that this movie kind of feels almost like Anchorman. And in the way that all this crazy stuff is happening in this office place. It's just like people are saying and doing ridiculous shit. But in Anchorman, you play that off as the joke. And though it's still kind of humorous here, it's played straight. Like, people are acting. Like, there's that scene in Anchorman, the first one, where they are off camera. They're trying to, like, distract Victoria, or Veronica, whatever her name was. And it's like Champ and Paul Rudd are, like, naked or, like, grinding against each other and licking their faces and shit like that to try to throw her off. That's something that would basically happen in this movie and just be like, that's a regular thing in the office. You play it straight. Like, you'd still be like, that's amusing, but it's done in a real setting as opposed to just being completely off the wall like it would be an Anchorman or something like that. So it creates this environment that is very juvenile, very annoying, and not a lot of fun to follow, as you don't get to see you never see the faces of anyone whose lives they're ruining. Like, that's something, there's another movie that's based off this same thing, The Boiler Room. I think Vin Diesel's in it. It's a late 90s movie. That movie, I think, actually supposedly...
Vin Diesel's first movie.
Yeah, that supposedly gets into a lot more of the fact that there are, real people being hurt at, the cost of this guy's greed. This movie doesn't show you any of that whatsoever, and I guess that's a big complaint that's coming out about this. This movie is making a good amount of money, essentially for Belfort again, and it doesn't really. It shows him as a monster. Don't get me wrong. It shows him beating a woman and getting his child into an accident after he gets too high on drugs. It shows a lot of fucking heinous shit from the guy, but at the same time, it doesn't really. It takes you way too long to get to that point where you're just like, oh my god, this guy's a monster.
Well, it's the same thing with what's that movie with The Rock and Marky Mark?
Pain and Gain.
Pain and Gain, yeah. Where people were just upset with that movie because it kind of glorified the villains of a real life story.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is that for most of the movie, they don't show you the faces of the people that are getting hurt, and instead you're just kind of supposed to sit there and, like, keep high-fiving with everybody else. She's like, yeah, fucking great job, Jonah Hill. You told that guy to go fuck himself. Woohoo, I like you. Jonah Hill, by the way, is ungodly annoying in this movie. I don't think it's the actor. I think it's just the character is so annoying, so fat, and just every time he talks, you're just like, I am so infuriated that you are succeeding in everything you are trying to do because you shouldn't. There's no reason why you should. You fat, dirty fuck, why won't you die? But I don't want to get into too much without getting into... I mean, I've already kind of spoiled a couple things, but I don't want to get into too much without getting into spoilers. So before I get any further, I'll just say I give this movie like a C-. It's just... It's really long. It's not particularly fair in terms of giving you the
honest perspective of
it. And there's a lot we could remove from this. There's a lot of just gratuitous nudity or gratuitous, scenes of them in the office doing shit. You're just like, we really didn't need all this to get to this point. It's just not. It didn't hit on my funny bone. There's maybe a couple scenes I chuckled at, one scene I outright laughed at, but outside of that, it's just, it feels like a long movie, and it's just one of those movies that didn't give me a good experience leaving the theater. I just felt like, God, fucking, I hate this world.
So you want to spoil the shit out of it?
The one thing I have to spoil is the only scene that, to me, was fucking hysterical.
All right.
And that is Jonah Hill and Leonardo DiCaprio take what are referred to as lemons. They're basically Quaaludes of like a maximum strength. They don't supposedly exist anymore. These ones have been sitting in a safe for like 50 years. So they take one each, and they're ready to have like this awesome night. And then it cuts to them, and they're watching fucking Family Matters. And they're just like, I don't feel anything yet. All right, we'll take another one. It's supposed to, 30 minutes have come by, they're not feeling anything, so they take another one. Then they go downstairs, they're working out, they're like, this is bullshit, I don't feel anything. They take another one, and Leonardo DiCaprio, he gets a call, he's like, I need you to call me, phone's tapped, you gotta get to a payphone. So he drives out to this country club, he's on the payphone talking, and all of a sudden, it all hits at once, and he just he falls to the ground, and he refers to it as being in a cerebral palsy phase. So he's got his hands all stretched out. He's just like, nah! He has to get to his car then because he finds out Jonah Hill's using the phone to call the fucking Swiss bank they're trying to funnel money to. So it's him trying to crawl and roll his way to his car, all fucking gimped out and shit. It's a pretty amusing scene in terms of just Leonardo DiCaprio being a very physical actor in it. And it's like the one scene I was busting out laughing during is he gets to the stairs and he's just like, shit, how do I get down this? Fucking baby makes crawling look so easy. I'm just gonna roll as he just flips his face down the stairs and just tumbles down like a goddamn sack of crap.
That reminds me of a story on my brother taking shrooms. Of them not hitting.
Yeah.
And keep going. And
but
I learned a lesson after that.
Again, the end of the movie is where you kind of that's where the fall finally happens, the last half hour. And I mean, it's great. I mean, this dude gets all the fucking comeuppance he deserves. I mean, he goes to prison for, I think, 20 years. He's never going to see his kids again. Thank God. The shit he does at the end of the movie is so horrible. You cannot like this guy anymore. His company is going to go under. Most of his friends are going to be indicted just as much as he is. So that entire group of shitheads supposedly will get theirs. And it ends with him basically after he's gotten out of prison. He's now going to work as a motivational speaker. Nothing to the extent that he's never going to have that same lifestyle he did before.
Yeah.
So you get that, but again, it's 3 hours to get to that point. And sometimes it's not 100% worth it. It's a very long movie. It is very long, and when you don't like the characters in it, and the experience just kind of leaves you with a miserable feeling, having the movie run that long is a huge detriment to everything.
So, I should be thanking the snow today.
Yeah, I think you should be glad that you had to help your buddy out and you didn't have to go check out.
And I will thank the UK's poor scheduling.
I say everyone should still have to see it, though.
Well, you can say that all you like. You said it's a bad movie.
I mean, dare I say this is actually an A-pluser? I really think everyone nails it in. Great performances. It doesn't feel long at all. I feel like I'm
So
out.
we have to redo all of our awards then.
Yeah, this is definitely movie of the
yeah.
year. I know you guys didn't see it, but you will once it comes out because you have. It's so excellent. You guys are going to love it.
Yeah, I'm already going to see Elysium because you bitched about it for so much. So,
I already saw Mortal Instruments City of Bones. I've lived up to my end of seeing shitty movies I missed, okay? I don't need you to fucking put this on me like I'm choring you through
The
it.
thing is, you had to watch that because eventually we're going to have to do the sequels.
yes.
There could be a sequel to Elysium.
No, there's not.
No.
Could be. Maybe Kirkham comes back. He's like, I am about to fuck your wife.
They bring Bane in? Okay.
Yeah, he's in the Bane garb.
I need to watch that movie again to get that fucking accent, man. It's glorious.
All right. You want to call it here for the Wolf of Wall Street, and then
Yeah, I don't think I have too much to say on it. This is a
It
movie.
just sounds like one of those. It's a real life. This is we know I mentioned with Rush, where I don't like real life stories normally.
I like real life stories. Like, I mean, a couple weeks ago we did American Hustle, which is based off of true events.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
And it's kind of in a similar vein of like, you know, here's this guy who was a con man. Basically, they're both kind of con artists. You know, obviously, in terms of American Hustle, he gets roped into kind of working for the good guys. So maybe that's why he becomes.
See, I think that one does well because either they're basically playing, I'm guessing, the lovable rogue style. You know, they are good people. They just have bad skills.
Yeah.
Whereas this guy sounds like a complete and utter dick who you want to just die.
I mean, he's Wall Street. I mean, nobody likes Wall Street unless you work for Wall Street. And even then, you hate everyone else who's in Wall Street because they're either taking your money or they make more money than you. So, I mean, it's just a cast of people you don't like.
All right.
And you follow them for 3 hours. I don't know if I can stress this enough. It's a really fucking long movie.
I'm gonna cut the recording here so I can separate these two, and then we'll be back with the review show. And I think everybody will like the awards we're gonna give out for this.
Awards!